Hi again, my name is Monica Pitts. I'm the owner of May Create Design and your hostess for this year-end fundraising training. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about how to master the end of year peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer fundraising is, well, I don't want to say it's all the rage, but kind of that makes me feel like I just fell out of the 50s. But it is definitely a buzz term that you see a lot in nonprofit fundraising right now. I am going to talk to you about what it is. I'm going to give you campaign ideas that you can share with your peer-to-peer fundraisers. I'm going to help you understand who you can ask to do these fundraisers on behalf of your organization, how to ask them to do these fundraisers, and then also how to support them through the fundraiser so that way they can get the most success possible out of their campaign, because success is fun. Success is fun for you because you get to meet new people and you get to get donations, but it's fun for them too. I mean, who wants to run a fundraiser that doesn't make any money? Nobody. So the more success they have, the more likely they are to do it again, right? And that is what we want and need. All right, so first, let's start off and talk about what is peer-to-peer. So think of peer-to-peer like an old-fashioned chain letter. You tell two friends, then they tell two more friends, and so on. Now, what people don't realize is that galas, 5Ks, and trivia nights are all just pretty much glorified peer-to-peer fundraisers, right? Because I'm a supporter of yours, and you approach me and say, do you want to buy a table? And I say, sure. And then I go and invite my friends, and they sit at the table and they get to hear about your mission and about your cause. And they probably also buy silent auction items, and they might participate in other parts of the gala, other parts of your fundraiser. That is a peer-to-peer activity. It just doesn't feel like it. So you might already be doing peer-to-peer and you just don't think about it that way. I did a great interview with Robin Peoples with the Wounded Warrior Project. She is the national head of peer-to-peer fundraising, and she had so many great ideas about how to support your peer-to-peer fundraisers and how to get started. Definitely check out that video to hear more about what it is and see examples of how other organizations are using it. Giving Tuesday explained that rather than the nonprofit asking the community to give, a peer-to-peer campaign becomes about the community rallying together to support a cause they are all connected to and care about. That is what makes it so awesome. And right now, people love supporting things that they care about. So here's a bit of data from Como Gives. Now, Como Gives is Columbia, that's the city I live in, our local month-long year-end giving campaign that supports 138 of our local nonprofits. My company, May Create Design, works with the Central Missouri Community Foundation as their marketing arm to promote Como Gives. And last year, through Como Gives, these 138 nonprofits earned over $960,000, and this year we really hope to reach 1 million. Now, we started doing peer-to-peer as part of this campaign 2 years ago, and it did far better last year than it did in 2018, which makes sense because, you know, whenever you introduce a new fundraising activity, it takes a second to catch on, right? And throughout this presentation, I'm going to use examples of data from Como Gives 2019 peer-to-peer fundraisers so you can get some examples and see how it works. Now, one of the things that helped me really realize the value of peer-to-peer is the conversion rate, because people who enter on a peer-to-peer page show an 8.2% conversion rate. Now, that is almost 3% higher than social media. So what that means is when people enter in on a peer-to-peer fundraising page, they have an 8.2% likelihood of making a donation in the Como Gives campaign someplace. Now, the beautiful thing about peer-to-peer fundraising is that you get to gather donor data to add to your list of people to ask to do future fundraisers for you. Plus, my data shows that the average donation from a person entering the site from a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign page was $100.58. Now, that's only $15 less than the campaign average. So these people don't even know the organizations as well because they're being asked by a friend to donate and they're still making a super generous contribution. And using that peer to peer fundraising, it helps you build more than just donations because it introduces your nonprofit to more people. It builds awareness as well as your donor list. I'm getting hungry. Yeah, I am. So now that we understand how awesome peer to peer can be in our fundraising mix for our year end giving campaigns, who are we going to ask to do it? Giving Tuesday says that now is a time of crisis for many individuals and families, but donors are opening up their hearts and wallets for the specific fundraisers that they care about. By donating to causes that they're personally connected to, donors are also willing to be team fundraisers, that's another term for peer to peer, and take on personal fundraising targets to help their favorite nonprofits. So, givingtuesday.org, you know, those big people that are so awesome that do this whole awesome Giving Tuesday thing? Yeah. They say that right now people are more likely than ever to do a peer to peer fundraiser for you. So I don't want you to be afraid to ask. I don't want you to hesitate. Let me help you define what a great peer to peer fundraiser looks like. So, donors who made large gifts in 2019 and who have not made them yet in 2020 might be great peer to peer fundraisers for you. You might ask them to do a matching gifts campaign. You could do this on Giving Tuesday. You could do it on December 31st. These are great days to kind of capitalize on the momentum with. And if their match is really big, then you can run it like it's your own campaign. You don't have to ask them to campaign on your behalf. You can just be like, hey, will you give a match to anybody who donates on Giving Tuesday? And then you promote their match for them. This worked really, really great for a couple of peer to peer fundraisers that participated last year in Como Gives. Let me make this big so you can see them. So, Fleet Feet for PedNet raised $2,250. And Making the Impossible Possible, Steve Hollis, he raised $4,420 for the organization that he supported. And these were both matching funds, peer to peer fundraisers. Now, I understand that not everyone has a huge donor that they can go ask right now to match donations. So instead, you can consider a collection of smaller matches. And that was done by another one of our organizations. And you can see that they still raised over $1,000 with these smaller matching fundraising campaigns. Now, you can ask people who did it last year successfully as well. Like if you did have someone who did a peer to peer fundraiser for you last year, ask them again because people who donate first through peer to peer have an 80% likelihood of donating through that same type of campaign again within 192 days. Now, that's from Classy, the State of Modern Philanthropy report, which is a really cool report if you haven't read it yet. It's awesome. So, what that means is that if I enter a website and participate in a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign, if I donate on behalf of one of my friends, I have an 80% likelihood of going back and donating through the next campaign that they do and ask me about within 192 days. That's not bad. So you could get the same people to donate to your organization again by asking a person who did it successfully for you before. Now, we polled our fundraisers last year from Como Gives, and our response from our 2019 peer-to-peer campaigners, when asked if they would do it again, 71.9% said yes. And 25% said maybe, and only 3% said no. And that was of 64 responses. So you can see that they did it before and they will do it again. So don't hesitate to ask. Also, look for supporters who are well networked or active on social media because they can leverage their asset of a big audience to build your audience and donations. So these might be people like local business owners or local news personalities. I did a video about how you can be a detective and go in and see whether they have a great social media following or not. So you can find that in this, where are we? In this website right now. I uploaded it to the on-demand training content as well, so you can follow those instructions. All right. So another group of people that you need to think about asking are your board members, your volunteers, and your steadfast supporters, because these individuals, they already know your story. They already represent your organization well. You don't have to train them to do it. They know why they love you and that you do great things. So they're wonderful people to ask. You can ask supporters who are in a sales role as well. Now, these people can be great campaigners for you because they already have conversations with people about money on a daily basis. So it's not weird for them to ask for money because they sell for a living. They are more experienced in these ask style conversations, and they are far more experienced at handling objections. And so it might be easier for them to be your peer-to-peer fundraisers. And then you can look for supporters with special talents because they can donate their skills or expertise to donors after a certain amount of donations are made. So here's a few examples of those. So from cookies to cakes and lawn mowing or art classes, like anything goes in a peer-to-peer fundraiser, right? So here's a few examples. Tara Shade did Cookies for a Cause, and she earned $430 for ACT. And anybody who made a donation of $25 or more before December 15th got hand-delivered Shade family cookies. That's really cool. And then John Cruz gave lawn mowing to somebody, like actually to 3 lawn mowings to people who entered into a drawing. So anybody who donated $25 or more was entered into a drawing, and he went and mowed their lawn this summer 3 times. Now Pam Gaynor, I hope I said that right, Pam, did Art for Art, and she earned $610 for her nonprofit. She provided a 3-hour caustic wax class for a donation of $150 per person. So you can see these people have talents and they're willing to share them. So think through your supporters who have talents that might be willing to make that ask for you in return for their talents. Now, the best peer-to-peers follow an if-then formula. This is what we have found, especially through Como Gives. If you donate X, by Y, then Z will happen. So why do these type of peer-to-peers work? Because it gives people a reason to give. And that reason might be a deadline, it might be a prize, it could be entertainment. And I'm not saying that people are not going to donate to you just because you have a worthy cause. Like, they will absolutely donate to you because you have a worthy cause. Now, the people that you're reaching through peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns, however, they don't always know you as well as others. And so this methodology makes them much more likely to make a contribution to you. If you donate X, by Y, then Z will happen. All right, so here's a few examples of that. Challenge campaigns. So Lisa Gilroy, well, she dyed her hair blue because she said that if she reached $500 in donations, she would dye her hair blue. And Carrie went on a face-off against another person to raise money for their chosen organization, and she earned $2,200 in this challenge face-off. And Joe Poor, he had to shave off his beard because if he said that if people donated $5,000, he would shave off his beard. So these are great examples of challenges. Okay, some other good examples of if-then style fundraisers are raffle campaigns. So these 3 fundraisers raffled off things. One of them raffled off books, another one raffled off seats at a table, and another one also raffled off tickets to a fundraiser. So each of them raised quite a bit of money, you can see, by entering people into a raffle, but they very clearly defined, if you donate $25 or more to my fundraiser, then you will be put into a raffle, and I will select 2 people who will be given this thing. So now that we know who would be great candidates for our peer-to-peer fundraisers, let's talk about how to ask them so they'll say yes. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a list. We're going to start with that list of great people to ask using the criteria that we just talked about. And then you're going to follow the instructions that I give you in my investigatory detective video, and you're going to investigate whether you think that they would be good candidates or not. Definitely pay attention to the things that they're talking about, because we want to make sure that we pick people that have the same values as your organization to be your peer-to-peer fundraisers. Okay, and then you're going to determine who's the best person to ask them to do it. This is a great time to involve your board. So the person who knows them best and is most likely going to be talking to them on a regular basis is the best person to ask them to do the fundraiser. And especially if your board members aren't willing to do a peer-to-peer fundraiser for you at the end of this year, they might be the best people to have ask on your behalf. Now, once you get your list together, you're going to call them. I know you don't really want to call them. You just want to email them because it's the least confrontational. This is not confrontation. We're like inventing confrontation here. People are far more likely to tell you yes if you take the time to contact them personally, not via email, but over the phone. So you're going to call them on the phone. You're going to ask them, will they do this? And then you can follow up with a text message, or you can follow up with an email to restate your ask. But make sure that you take time to let them know that you really care about them and you need their help. Now, of all the peer-to-peer campaigners who responded to our 2019 survey, they all said that they were asked personally by the nonprofit. We can't just expect these people to volunteer, especially at the end of the year when they're busy. We need to make sure that we ask them. It's best to approach your peer-to-peer candidates with an idea. Too many options makes things feel really complicated, and it makes them feel undoable. So you need to explain to them that you have a problem that they can help you solve by doing this peer-to-peer campaign for you. Use that ask that we outlined in the nonprofit campaign strategies video. And then you're going to thank them also, and you're going to let them know that you know them. So when you make suggestions to them, make suggestions that make sense for them. Like, maybe if you know me, you know that I really, really hate to bake cookies. I do it one time a year for my daughter's birthday. My oldest child loves to see if she can get me to bake cookies every year. And last year, thank God, my husband finished baking all those cotton picking cookies for me, because I don't like baking cookies. Don't ask me to do it. Don't. But I love to crochet and I love to do aerial. So ask me to do something that I like, right? All right, let them know that you know them. All right, and then ask them why they support your organization, because this helps them discover their own story that they can share with others to personalize their ask of others. And take notes while they're talking so that you can send them what their answer was. It seems like you're totally put on the spot the second time and it never comes out quite right. So if you take notes the first time that they respond, then you're building an asset for them so that they can use it later when they're making their ask of other people to donate to your organization. Now, make sure that you give them an expectation of the time investment that they're going to be making. When we asked our 2019 peer-to-peer campaigners, obviously they could have spent as much time as they wanted. And you can let the people that you're asking know that they can spend as much time as they wanted. But our campaigners mostly spent just a few minutes a day, as you can see from this chart. And half of them did spend the entire month campaigning, but the other half, they only spent part of the month campaigning. They spent a day, a few days, a week, or a few weeks. So they get to pick how long they run their campaign for. It doesn't have to be forever. Now, you need to anticipate objections, right? Because it is the time of the year when people are busy. Now, after a survey of our 2019 donors, we found that 56% had never heard of peer-to-peer. So there's a huge opportunity because people don't even know what it is, right? And many cited that they wouldn't do one because they're too busy. Many said that they don't feel comfortable asking other people for money. Why am I telling you these things? I'm not telling you these things so that I can scare you away from doing a peer-to-peer campaign. I'm telling you these things because you need to know that these objections are going to happen. So how will you overcome them in a kind way? It's okay to ask again when they give you an objection. It really is. They may object because of a misconception or a misunderstanding. I mean, a time objection, it only takes a few minutes a day, and you don't have to do it for a whole month. I will give you everything that you need to make it happen. You, if they tell you that they don't feel comfortable asking for money, then ask yourself, do they really understand what the money is going to be used for? Do they not believe that it's a worthy cause? Help them see the fundraiser in a different way. Show them that they can offer up their talents in return for donation, like a service for donation, mowing yards or baking cookies. They might feel differently about that than just straight up asking people for money. And if the answer is still no, that's okay. Is there any way that they would be willing to help? Could they just share a social media post for you throughout the month of December, or maybe give you a few emails? Or is there anyone else who might be a better fit for the campaign? Now, maybe they would put a yard sign in their yard, or they would just forward an email for you on your behalf. Or maybe they would go live on Facebook in support of your organization sometime in the month of December. Like, those are all different things that they could do if they're not willing to run a peer to peer campaign for you during this month. Now, super important, super important that we support our campaigners throughout their campaign. Remember at the beginning, I told you that a successful campaign for them is a successful campaign for you. It's fun. It's fun to generate donations for a worthy cause, and it makes you feel good about yourself. That success does. So we need to set them up for a win, right? Just asking them to do it and then like running away and not talking to them again, this is not going to set them up for a win. When we asked our peer-to-peer campaigners, did they get enough support? Many of them said no, they would have liked to have had more support from the nonprofit that they were promoting. So make sure that you tell them how you want them to do this peer-to-peer campaign, right? So if you want them to do it through Facebook, or if there's a specific thing on a website that you subscribe to or a service that you have, show them how to do it, especially those technicalities, because they're just not used to doing it every day, right? So I like to make videos for people that show them how to do things. I'm sure you don't notice that at all about me, right? So I use Loom for this, Loom. It is a free extension that you can use on your browser that will capture your screen and your face and your noise, and it'll create little videos for you that you can send to them with a link. Now make sure that you share with them all the marketing assets that they will need to make this a successful campaign. So share them your campaign goal in writing. Tell them what this campaign goes to support specifically in writing. Give them your logo, one that doesn't have a background on it if you can, like a transparent background. Give them images of things your organization does. Share with them your mission in writing. Give them a script that they could use when calling or texting people. You could give them an email to send to their friends and family. Maybe you could retrofit one of the email templates that we provide for you in this training. You could give them a few social media posts to start with and provide a suggested promotional schedule, just like I did with you with those emails. If you can provide something for them that seems doable and they don't have to think about it too much, they are far more likely to be successful at this. Now, here's a pro tip for you. If you don't have a script, you can ask your executive director or a regular spokesperson for your organization to record themselves doing a mock ask. And then you can transcribe the conversation and edit it down for easy use. The transcription is awesome. I use otter.ai for this. You get one transcription from a video or audio clip that is not recorded inside of Otter, that they will do this for you for free. So you can use Otter to just record somebody's voice as well, and it will transcribe it, and they will do that for you as many times as you want. But the free transcription service, they only do once for you. But you could do a video, whatever it is that will help them really understand how to talk about your organization. Basically, what you're doing is you're pretending to be a sales trainer. You are going to assist them in selecting a theme for their peer-to-peer. And I love listening to Robin Peoples talk about that. Absolutely listen to that video or that audio because she's amazing and you'll learn so much from her. You can help them brainstorm their list of people to ask. You can coach them through a conversation. I like to role play with people. Now, here's the deal. Like in my company, my salespeople don't start selling on their own for 2 to 3 years after they get started. First, they start out as account service people so they can learn to talk about our services and how everything works before they start consulting with people. What you're asking people to do in a peer-to-peer fundraiser is just jump into the role. So it's important that you get them started on the right foot. And sometimes role play is perfect. You just talk back and forth, give them the script, talk back and forth in a Zoom meeting, and let them know how this can go. You can share common objections and how to respond, and then explain how many times or how often to contact people via phone or text. That's kind of part of that schedule that you might give them. Then as they're running their campaign, you're going to offer support throughout it. You're going to call or text or email them to check in. You're going to follow their progress and you're going to let them know how much you really, really appreciate their efforts and contributions. And just ask them, is there anything else that you can do? Anything else that you need that I can help you with? And comment and interact with their social media posts to show them that you are paying attention to what they're doing. Celebrate their successes because their successes are your successes. So there you have it, friends. How to master the end of year peer-to-peer in a nutshell. We talked about what peer-to-peer fundraising is, came up with campaign ideas, talked about who you would ask, how to ask them, and how to support them so they find success in the campaign and you find success too. If you have more questions about peer-to-peer, you can ask them on the Nonprofit Marketing with Purpose Facebook group, ask them of your peers, and ask them of me too. And we are here to support you through this peer-to-peer journey.
So I know, as awesome as all of these free resources and group learning can be, that sometimes you need just a little bit more attention and one-on-one planning help to sit down and figure out just where to start your year-end campaign. I'm offering a limited number of half-price one-on-one consulting sessions. Schedule between September 28th and October 9th, and your one-on-one 1-hour consulting session will be half off. So that's usually $90 and it's marked down to $45. So to sign up for your session, go to consulting.maycreate.com to reserve your spot today. Now, if you are ready to start planning for 2021, join us for the beta session of our Nonprofit Marketing Management Fundamentals course as I guide a small group of nonprofits through our signature marketing planning program later this fall. Now, for the beta release, all sessions will be presented live with Q&A sessions afterwards for real feedback. I want to know what you need from me, and I want to answer your questions live in this beta release. So together we'll plan your marketing so you can get back to doing what matters most, growing your mission and making an impact on your community. Join the waitlist now at youmaycreate.com/fundamentals. Once again, that's youmaycreate.com/fundamentals. Together, I know that we can make these last few months of 2020 the best part of this year. And with that, my friends, go forth and market with purpose.